asks us to graph x squared minus y squared plus dx minus 16 equals 0, and asks us graph for values of d equal to 0, less than 0, and greater than 0. So looking at this hyperbola, this is a hyperbola trans x, and if it's equal to 0, we can see that it's centered at 0, 0. As we change the value for d to positive, we can see that it will shift to the left, and it is just a horizontal shift. Okay? It does not move vertically, but it moves only horizontally. And as we let d go negative, it moves to the right, and it moves only horizontally to the right. Okay? And this makes sense because if we think of the d value going with the x, this should only affect the horizontal, and it will do a horizontal shift and not change the shape, because the shape is determined by the expansion compression factor A that would be in front of the x squared. We've been also asked to see what happens when we do the same thing for E, which is on the y. So again, when E is equal to 0, we have a hyperbola, a rectangular hyperbola, center at 0. And as we move it, make D positive, we can see that the hyperbola moves vertically upward. Okay? So it's gonna, as E becomes positive, the hyperbola does move vertically upward, but it also does change the shape of that, or the location of the vertex, or the vertical position of the vertex, but also how close the vertices are to each other. And this is due to the fact that as we change the E value, when we complete the square here, it's going to affect the value on the other side. So eventually it's going to go from positive to negative, and we're also going to end up going from trans x hyperbola to a trans y hyperbola. Okay, so there's a vertical shift of that hyperbola, of the center of that hyperbola, and it will change from trans x to trans y depending on the value that you have. And if we go to the negative, again, notice that it's changing to it's vertically shifting as well. And as we go to certain values of E, it will change from trans x to trans y.